I have won fortunes, and I have lost them, but the market never beat me. It was always myself that I had to conquer. Today, I give you 7 golden rules, etched in pain, paid for with losses. That will help you recover when the market humbles you, as it surely will I learn to cut a loss the way a surgeon cuts dead tissue. Clean, fast, and without pity. The tape doesn't argue, it whispers first, then it shouts. You see a bid hesitate, you see the spreads widen like a wound, you feel the floor tilt under your feet. That first flicker is the warning. If I'm long and the market starts acting heavy, I don't pray, I don't negotiate. I hit the exit and ask questions with a clear head later. A small scratch today beats a knife tomorrow. Most traders wait for comfort. They want a reason, a headline, a friendly voice. I want action. I give a trade room to breathe, not room to bury me. My line is drawn before I enter, and when the tape steps over it, I don't move the line, I move myself. A man who shifts his boundary after the fact isn't managing risk, he's bargaining with a fire. I remember days when the open looked fine, firm bids, steady climb, and then the rhythm broke. Not a collapse, just a slip in the step. A stock that runs true lifts on light selling and springs back like it's made of wire. When it stops springing, when it starts dragging its feet, that's the moment. I don't wait for the full confession. I take the hint and walk. If I'm wrong, I can buy again. Pride is expensive, re-entry is cheap. People ask about timing. Timing is discipline wearing a watch. When I enter, I'm already half out. My mind sits on the cell key like a lifeguard on a chair. I don't need drama. I need the tape to behave. If it does, good, I add, but only from strength, never to rescue weakness. Adding to a loser is like pouring water into a cracked barrel. You feel busy, you go broke. When I add, it's because the market has proven my first stake was right. Higher lows, quick rebounds, clean pushes through the sticking points. If it starts to falter after I add, I peel back to the core. Then peel the core if it can't hold its ground. I would rather look foolish for 5 minutes than ruin for 5 months. This game rewards the man who can stand being slightly wrong for a short time and punishes the man who insists on being right eventually. The market can stay perverse longer than I can stay liquid if I let it, so I don't. Capital is the breath in my lungs. Once it's gone, so is my judgment. Guarding it is not cowardice, it's readiness. I keep my powder dry, not because I fear the next fight, but because I intend to choose it. There's a click the tape makes when a move is over. You can't teach that sound, but you can train yourself to honor it. The bids stop chasing. The eager hands turn cautious. Volume swells without progress, like a crowd gathering to watch a stalled cab. I don't wait for the driver to fix the engine. I step out. If the cab miraculously lurches back to life, fine, flag another. If it stalls for good, I'm already on the sidewalk, counting my cash, scanning the avenue, listening for that cleaner engine down the block, the one that hums, the one that hums, the one that takes the light and runs with it. And that's why I never throw fresh money into a dead engine. Averaging down is a gambler's lullaby. It sounds brave, it feels defiant, but it is only pride dressed as strategy. When a trade sours and the tape grows heavy, the cheapest thing you can buy is more shares. The most expensive thing you can spend is your judgment. I've learned to keep my judgment rich. I don't nurse a loser. I don't feed it. I put it out and walk. The mind hates to admit error. It wants to make a crooked line look straight by drawing more of it. You buy at a price, the market dips, and a little voice whispers that this is a discount. But discounts belong to stores, not to the tape. A true bargain shows itself in the way buyers step up, how offers vanish when pressed, how a pullback snaps back like a taut rope. A false bargain sinks in silence, the bids thin, the rebounds tire. Every ad buys you comfort for a minute and trouble for a week. I've watched the open bait the eager. Firm tone, clean lift, and then the rhythm shifts. A quick sell wave hits, no panic, just intent. On a strong candidate, that wave meets a wall. The stock takes the punch and answers with a sharper jab. On a weak one, the punch lands and the knees wobble. That is not a dip to finance. That is the tape telling you to stand aside. My rule is simple. I add to proof, not to hope. If I'm long, proof means higher lows that stick, rallies that chew through the same price that used to stall them, pullbacks that dry up and reverse without help. When I see that, I can press. Not all at once, never all at once, but in careful steps, each one paid for by the last. Rescue missions empty the treasury. A man averages down because he can't bear the red on his blotter. He'd rather average his pain than cancel it. But pain averaged is pain prolonged. Capital is not a broom to sweep mistakes under the rug, it's powder. I keep it dry for the moments when the market leans my way and invites me to push. There is a difference between patience and stubbornness. Patience waits for the friend that shows up. Stubbornness waits for the stranger to change. There was a day I tried to be clever. I bought a mover into strength. It stalled, slipped a notch, and I told myself it was noise. I added, then added again. Each add dulled my senses. Each one tied me closer to a sinking stone. The tape turned from a whisper to a verdict. I cut the whole mess lighter by several chunks and heavier by a lesson. Later that week, the same name set up clean. It took back the level it had surrendered, pulled back like a bowstring, then sprang. I bought once, then again when the pullback held where it should. This time the ads paid for themselves. Not because I was owed, but because the market finally agreed. That's the only partnership that counts. I won't bribe it by throwing money at disobedience. I wait for obedience. I listen for the hum. And when I hear it, when the bids climb in unison and the offers tip their hat and step aside, I lean in with both hands, then with one hand, then with nothing but patience. The hardest ad is no ad at all, just sitting there, letting a good position do the work while you keep your hands off the switches. Patience is not idleness. It's pressure held in reserve. When I bite and the tape is paying rent on time, I don't evict it because I'm bored. I watch the bids breathe. I watch how the pullbacks behave. If they dip like a polite guest and return to the conversation, I let the move unfold. If they stump around and scuff the floor, I'm ready to show them the door. But I don't rush. The market hates the fidgety. A clean trend has a gait. You learn its stride by standing alongside it, not by sprinting ahead. I mark the spots where it hesitated before, the places where sellers tried to make a stand. If the stock strides through those levels without wheezing, I let it run. I don't clip the first flower to prove I grew a garden. I let the garden fill. When momentum pauses in a tight coil, when the tape quiets and trades pass like notes under a table, I wait for the tell. It's not volume alone, not price alone. It's the way one strengthens the other. The bids step up from a higher stair. The offers jump back like they forgot an appointment, and the stock nods forward with purpose. That's when I consider pressing. Not because I'm restless, but because the move deserves it. Patience also means staying out when the market is messy. There are days the tape talks in riddles. Opens that pop and fizzle, ranges that chew through time without gaining ground, reversals that don't stick. That's weather, not climate. I don't trade clouds, I trade skies. If I can't read it, I don't force it. Protecting capital is not only about cutting. It's about declining invitations that arrive in bad ink. The money I don't lose today is the money that will answer me tomorrow. There's a special kind of patience inside a winner. The mind begs to book the comfort and lock the feeling. I've done it. Sold for a tidy sum and watched the real move begin without me, like waving goodbye to a ship that had my name on the ticket. So now I trail my pride, not my stop. I nudge risk only when the tape earns it. Higher lows that hold, I tuck the line under them. Stumbling steps that don't recover, I slice. But I don't chase my own shadow. The tape leads, I follow at a respectful distance. Sitting tight is not a slogan. It's an occupation. It demands you stand guard over your own impulses the way a watchman guards a vault. When the stock pauses, I breathe with it. When it shakes, I measure the shake against the character it has shown. Strong names shake like athletes. Hard and brief, then back to form. Weak names wobble and look for a bench. I don't lend my back to a wobble. I let it fall away and save my strength for the one that holds its form after the bell rings, after the noise fades. When the bids gather again like a tide, pulling at the pilings, and the tape, patient as stone, starts to lean in my favor, and I only press when the weather is truly fair. The right trade feels like clear air in the lungs. It isn't noisy. It isn't forced. The tape lines up the way a road lines up with your stride. No pebbles in the shoe, no hitch in the knee. I wait for that feeling, because trading out of season is how men starve with a full pantry. The market has its winters, its muddy thaws, its brief false springs. I don't plant then. I hold my seed and watch the sky. A good day declares itself early, not with fireworks, but with order. The open tests the edge and holds it. Pullbacks are brief and polite, not brawls. When sellers take their swing, the bids don't flinch. They step up a rung and invite the next print. That's weather I can trust. I start with a small stake, the kind that keeps my mind sharp. Then I watch how the ground takes the weight. If the stock moves clean, no stumbling at familiar thresholds, no gasping on routine offers, I'll pay for another unit. Each ad has to earn its ticket. I don't pay advance rent to a landlord who can't keep the lights on. Bad weather speaks too, if you let it. You'll see ranges that chew time and give nothing back. Moves that start with a drummer and end with a cough. Bids that look brave until the simplest sell order knocks the wind out of them. That's the market telling me to put my hands in my pockets. I've had days where I took one good look at the action, closed my book, and went for a long walk. The money I didn't put at risk felt like a win before lunch. There is pride in restraint. There is profit in it, too. When conditions shift, they seldom shout. The tape goes from Chris to Soggy. The same name that leapt over a price yesterday now trips on it. I don't argue with that. I pull my size back to the core, and if the sogginess turns to rot, I cut the core and keep my powder dry. Capital is not a souvenir, it is working stock. I treat it like a regiment. I don't send it into a swamp because I'm bored of the barracks. The right setup has a look you can taste. It's in the way the stock leans into resistance, as if it already lives above it. It's in the way the first pullback after a breakout lands on firm boards, not loose nails. It's in the clock, too. Some moves are morning creatures, others need the afternoon to gather nerve. I match my steps to the move's temperament. I don't demand speed from a plow horse or patience from a sprinter. I study the stride, then I either ride it or I salute it from the curb. There is a kind of silence before a proper push, the hush of a room that knows something is about to happen. When I feel that quiet settle on the tape, when the bids begin to stack like sandbags and the offers start drifting backward as if tugged by a tide, I lean in as much as the weather allows. If the wind shifts, I step aside without ceremony. If it steadies, I stay with it, adding only as the ground firms under each footfall, counting breaths, scanning the horizon, watching the flags on the roofline. Waiting for that moment when the street straightens and the crowd parts and I don't empty the holster just because the street opens. I slip only what the day deserves across the line because capital is breath, and a trader short on breath makes bad decisions fast. I treat money like troop scouts first, then a platoon, never the full regiment until the ground proves it can hold their weight. I learned that after watching a fat position sink into a thin market, every tick a small drowning. Now I start with a tester to read the water, how the bids greet me, whether the offers flinch when pressed, whether a pullback behaves like a polite bow or a stumble. If the tape gives me respect, I stay. If it snarls, I take back my stake and keep my powder dry. Pride hates that. Pride wants me to show force, to make the market bend. But capital doesn't bend markets, it only bends men. I'd rather look timid today than crippled tomorrow. On clean days, when a name strides through the level that used to stop it, and the first dip lands on firm boards, I let the trade pay for the next ticket. Profits fund ads, not hope. I trail risk behind structure, not behind wishes. If the action smears, if rebounds get lazy, I peel size to the bone and watch. A scratch is a fee. A gash is a lesson I don't plan to repeat. There's a time for offense, and I love offense, but defense buys you time to find it. I count my cash between moves the way a soldier checks his gear, quietly, without theater. That balance tells me the truth. A healthy stack keeps my mind still. A wounded stack makes the tape sound louder than it is. That's when discipline steps in like a sober friend and shuts the bar. No revenge trades, no doubling to feel whole. If I've been cut, I trade smaller, slower, cleaner. I want the next decision to be made by me, not by the bruise. I've seen markets that invited me in with a smile and slipped the floor out on the second step. On those days, I'm the man at the door counting heads and turning people away. The best trade I'll make is the one I don't take when the air tastes wrong. You can't rebuild without raw material, and in this game, raw material is cash. I guard it with rules made when I was calm, because the storm won't let me write new ones. If my line breaks, I'm gone. If a rally can't reclaim the spot it surrendered, I'm lighter. If the open is wild and the Princefield drunk, I let the drunks have it. The market will sober up. My account needs to be around when it does. A strong hand adds only when the ground firms under each footfall. A weak hand adds to feel stronger. I've been that weak hand, I've carried that shame. Never again. I'd rather be the man who sits through the quiet, who counts the heartbeats of the tape and waits for the pulse to steady, who keeps the regiment sharp and ready, who listens to the room go still before the push, Who touches the cash once nods, looks back at the bids stacking like sandbags, and I steady my hands. Mastery starts there, not with a hot tip, not with a clever chart, but with two quiet hands obeying a calm mind. The tape will pull at your nerves like a fish on a thin line. It will make your heart sprint when it should stroll, make your pride shout when it should be silent. I've lost more to that noise than to any bear raid. So I built a habit rules written in cool weather, followed in heat. Before I click, I ask one thing. Am I acting or reacting? If it's reaction, I wait. If it's action, I proceed small and sure. A strong open can hypnotize a man. Prints fly, the crowd leans forward, and greed tells you you're missing the train. I don't chase trains. I board when the door opens. I watch the first pullback. A good one behaves like a soldier taking a knee. Quick, composed, then back up. If the knee buckles, I'm out. If it sets and rises, I'll put a scout on the field. Not to feed hunger, but to test character. If the stock clears the morning's high without panting, I'll press a little more. If it coughs, I cut back to the scout and see if it can stand on its own. My ego doesn't get a vote. It lost its voting rights long ago. Fear has a trick of whispering that small danger is large and large danger is small. It makes you kick out a good position at the first wiggle and baby a bad one until it bites. I answer fear with numbers I chose when the sky was blue. If I'm wrong by my line, I'm out. No ceremony. If I'm right and the tape behaves, I sit tight and let price do the talking. I don't cash a winner just to feel safe. Safety is structure, not comfort. I tuck my risk under each higher floor the market builds for me. When that floor cracks, I don't ask the carpenter for advice. I step away. Pride wants the last word. It wants me to call tops and bottoms like I'm the mayor of the street. I'm not. I'm a tenant. I pay rent with discipline. Pride also loves averaging down. It calls it courage. That's not courage. Courage is admitting you were early, paying the fee, and waiting for the real turn. The clean turn doesn't beg. It shows you buyers standing where sellers used to sit, pullbacks that land on firm boards, a tone that tightens instead of phrase. Only then do I lean in, and even then I let the trade earn its own reinforcement. On bad days, the head gets hot. Revenge creeps in, dressed like justice. I cool it with ritual step back from the screen, count to 50, touch the cash, remember what it costs to get it back once you waste it. Then I shrink size until my breathing matches the tape. Small trades sharpen judgment. Big trades blur it. When the street is muddy, I keep my shoes clean. When it dries, I move. Self-mastery is that throttle, the hand on the lever that says not yet or now or enough. The bids stack again like sandbags, the offers drift like leaves, the room goes quiet, my pulse slows to meet it, and I wait one more beat for the tell, one more tick for the proof, one more nod from the tape before I step with the tide, not against it. The street is a river and price is the current. You don't outmuscle a river, you ride it or you drown. I don't buy because I want it up, and I don't sell because I want it down. I wait for the direction to show itself in the feet of the tape. Prints climbing the stairs without losing breath. Pullbacks that dip like a knee in spring. Bids replacing bids a notch higher as if the crowd has agreed on a path. When I see that, I stop arguing and start rowing with it. Pride hates this. Pride wants to call the turn, plant a flag, be the clever one who caught the last tick. Flags belong on hills, not on the tape. Trend is character more than distance. An uptrend doesn't shout, it insists. It takes back yesterday's high as if it never left, pauses like a gentleman at the door, then steps through. I'll start small when it does, and if the next pullback is shallow and the lift is cleaner than the last, I'll pay for another seat. I add from strength only, never to pull a stubborn mule across a bridge it doesn't want to cross. If the current stays true, I sit tight and let the river carry me. I don't jump at the first swirl. I only tighten my line when the market gives me a fresh ledge to stand on. Higher floors that hold after a test, not numbers I make up to feel safe. When that new floor breaks with intent, I don't debate. I take my stake back and wait for the water to steady somewhere else. Downtrends have the same manners in reverse. Rallies are the market catching its breath, not changing its mind. If I'm tempted to fade the theme because a bounce looks pretty, I ask how it behaves when it meets the level it just abandoned. Real turns fight for that ground and keep it. Weak ones look at the step and slip. I don't rescue slips. I let them go. If I'm riding the downriver move, I press when the bounces tire early and sellers return on cue. If I'm not in, I don't get brave because price is cheaper than yesterday. Cheap is not the same as right. Right is tape that agrees with me and keeps agreeing under pressure. The worst days I've had were days I tried to be a hero, calling tops in a clear climb or bottom, fishing in a clean fall. I paid tuition for that costume. The best days were quieter, standing inside a calm, letting the flow do the work, cutting at the first sign the rhythm had changed. Discipline lives in that first cut. The longer you fight the stream, the more it asks from you. You don't owe the market an opinion. You owe your account survival. So I keep my jaw shut and my eyes open. I watch the bids stack like timber, watch the offers blink and back away, feel the pace settle into a stride I recognize, and I lean with it, not because I crave motion, but because the street and I are finally speaking the same language. If the voice roughens, I step aside. If the voice holds, I stay counting breaths, trailing my risk under new stone, letting the river tug me forward until the pull thins, the surface ruffles, the oars bite air, and hold the oars steady, waiting for the water to tell me it's done. That is the heart of this game. Not brilliance, not luck, not some secret formula scribbled on the back of a napkin. Survival, discipline, the patience to wait for the market's voice, the courage to cut when it turns harsh, the humility to ride with it when it speaks clear. I have watched men drown in pride, burn in greed, and freeze in fear. The market doesn't forgive those sins. It collects them with interest. I tell you this not to frighten, but to arm you. The rules I've laid are not theories. They are scars. Each one was bought with capital, with long nights, with the sting of mistakes I swore I would never repeat. Guard your money, guard your judgment, guard your nerve. Do this, and you will still bleed, but you will not die. You will bend without breaking, lose without ruin, win without madness. Because in the end, speculation is not about conquering the market. It is about conquering yourself. The tape is only a mirror. It shows your fear, your greed, your patience, your pride. Master what you see in that reflection, and you can stand through the storms, row with the tide, and claim your share when the river runs your way. And when that moment comes, when the noise falls silent and the current steadies, you'll feel it. The same hum I've chased my whole life. The hum that tells you the move is real, the path is clear, and the market itself has nodded its head. That is when you lean, when you press, when you sit tight and let the tide carry you farther than your imagination ever dared,